Okay, one of the things we're going to look at is ghosting partitions on your hard drive. This particular laptop has 3 operating systems. Microsoft Windows Vista, XP Professional, and Linux Ubuntu, Feisty Farm version. Here, I've burned all of these to DVD and compressed it using Ghost, and I've made these bootable. Basically just took an ISO image and made these bootable DVDs, so I don't have to actually have a bootable CD or anything. But my Linux operating system is on 2 DVDs. It's about 8.5 gig compressed. And my XP Professional 2 operating system, and this is with all the applications. We're talking around 20 gigabytes of applications along with the operating system, condensed down to 3 DVDs. That's pretty good compression. In this case, here's my Vista partition, the operating system, all of the updates, all of the software installed. It's a very handy way to restore a system in the event of hardware failure or a really nasty virus that corrupts your file system beyond repair, because you don't have to spend days and days reinstalling software. You don't have to hunt for CD keys and DVD keys when you're reinstalling the software. You don't have to spend hours and hours re-downloading all of the service packs that you downloaded once before. Ghosts, or any other imaging utility, gives you the ability to take a snapshot, and from that snapshot on any other hard drive or the same hard drive, you can restore that complete partition, operating system, applications, permissions, settings, all. So it's a really big time saver. It's a great way to recover from file server failure, and it really would save you downtime, and not just for your personal use, but also, on the job. It's going to be the difference. It could possibly make hours and hours of difference in terms of the amount of downtime that you would suffer if you had to completely reinstall the operating system, reconfigure it out of the drivers, as opposed to having an image ready to go that you can simply restore in 15 minutes and be up and running. When I'm on the road, I carry these with me, and believe it or not, that's much less. If I were to carry all the software and the operating systems and keys for 3 different operating systems, I would have a box of CDs and DVDs about this tall. So this is a lot less. Optionally, you might copy it to a removable drive. You can use a smaller 2.5-inch laptop removable drive. I have a 750 gigabyte Western Digital here, and I keep a lot of stuff on it, but we'll just use this to do a ghost image. We'll look at ghost imaging. So I'm just going to pick one of these. They're all bootable. In this case, when you to make your own restore CDs, go ahead and install your operating system, format it, partition your drive like you want it, get all your software installed, download your service packs, install all the keys, register what you want to register, and then to image it, basically what you want to do is boot. We'll boot up off of Ghost. Now, optionally, the newer versions of Ghost 2003 and beyond, you can install it on the operating system and do it from within the graphical interface. But I've encountered problems with digital rights management, and even though it would image it, I would still have to reinstall keys and things. I found that this runs a little bit smoother if you boot it off of the Ghost CD. So make a bootable CD, put the Ghost program on it, and then what you can do is unmount your hard drive so you can actually completely partition it. You don't have to worry about digital rights management or any of the other possibilities where you might miss something, or you may have to end up reinstalling something or retyping in a CD key or something like that. This makes a complete and total image. I'll go ahead and boot off of that CD. And in this case, I'm using PC-DOS 7.1 as a startup. This time, we'll go into PC-DOS, and we'll go ahead and load the USB 2 drivers.
Don't, no.
Again, just ignore the CD-ROM messages there on this boot CD. We want to go ahead and look at, we'll go into a DOS prompt, look at the command prompt. to give us our two drives here. Here's our removable drives, and here's the 160 gig drive that's the internal laptop hard drive. And if I needed to delete, create partitions, or get information on a particular partition, I'll just type in this case, disk 1, gdisk 1, and this tells me all of the partitions there. I'm going to go ahead and launch Ghost. And this particular option, 2003, we're not doing forensics. We're going to continue without marking the drives. If you mark the drives, you know, this can be used with serialization and digital rights management. I usually always decline on that option. So we'll continue without marking drives. I'm going to go to local. I'm going to say I could copy an entire disk. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and copy a partition to an image. I can choose the physical drive. This is my removable drive down here, the 80 gig drive. This is the internal laptop drive, 160 gig. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Here are my different partitions, XP, Vista. Here's my data partition. They're all NTFS. Here's my Linux partition, in this case Ubuntu 565. And the Linux swap partition. Here are the data sizes, size of megabytes and data size. I have 22 gigs on the partition, but 18 gigs are consumed. They're 18 and a half. I have 22 gigs here on the Vista partition, 20 gigs are consumed. On my data partition, I have 93 gigs, of which 82 gigs are consumed. And on my Linux partition, I have 13 gigs, of which 8 gigs are consumed. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to choose my smallest partition because this will be, fairly quick. We won't have to wait a long time. I'm going to choose the Linux swap partition, which is mostly empty space, but it'll be a good demonstration. If you were going to backup XP, you would select this. Vista, you would select this. Data, you would select this. So with the partition selected, I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. I can go up here, and I'm using the mouse, but alternatively, if for some reason your mouse doesn't work, from a command prompt level, you can use Tab to go in and out, and Shift Tab to go up, and you can use the arrow keys to pull down menus like I'm doing right here. My external drive is called Data DXT2, that's what I named it, so I'll go there. And in this case, now I'm looking at my Data DXT2 drive, and I'm looking at different directories here. Make one called Backup. And Backup, we'll just call this one Linux. And that'll be the name of my image. Now, notice I have the option to compress. Compression will allow you to fit a lot more in a smaller amount of space, but it will take longer to create the image. In this case, we're doing a very small partition. It's only 1 gigabyte, and there's not much data on it. It's a swap partition. So I'm going to go ahead and select to use high compression rather than fast speed. Proceed with image creation. We'll say yes. And that was it. Image creation completed successfully. Now, if I were to do XP or Linux, we would have probably been looking at 10, maybe 15 minutes there, but still, not a lot of time, considering that now, if I wanted to restore any of these operating systems with all their applications and software, it would only take me 10, maybe 15 minutes to do the restoration with a good high-speed USB 2 drive. So when backing up your system is that easy, the question is, why don't people? It's such a big time saver. It's such a big relief to know that you have all of your software, your applications, your installation keys, your service packs, your operating, every part of your operating system that is configured the way that you need it to be configured, all of that saved into an image file such that if you ever need to go back, you can. It's much more useful in terms of a restoration tool than simply setting a system restore point, because it's physically separate from the drive. If the drive goes bad, I can just pop a new drive in, and in less than an hour have 3 operating systems on multiple partitions all set up and configured just the way they used to be. Likewise, if something were to destroy your file system or severely damage your file system, a restore point would not really help you, but a ghost image would. Thank you, and please join us again.